crime victims for 30 years is every time that what happened to them resurfaces, particularly resurfaces publicly, it tears open old wounds that maybe have begun to heal, which probably never heal fully given what Epstein, Maxwell and company did to those young girls. But this is all sport for Trump and the Republicans. Here's the thing, Steph, I'm counting on Donald Trump's imbecility to continue to sink him, because now when he's actually saying, and all these years later, you can see he's still kind of agitated that Epstein stole one of my underage female workers from Mar-a-Lago. And that's one of the reasons I was angry at him. You know what, Donald? Keep talking, keep talking, keep talking.
It really police department website. See the jumper? This is a photo of Jeffrey in 1997, 1 year after John Bonet's body was found. See that he has gray hair? This is an actual Epstein file that you can find on the government website. The number's on the screen. See the jumper? See the blonde hair on the little girl? You see that Jeffrey has gray hair? This is a comment I got on Instagram on a post on the same topic. I'll give you a second to read it. This is the very next Epstein file after the Epstein file I just showed you. And the file number for this one is on the screen as well. Who is she? Who is that little girl? Release the damn files.
About the Epstein files is 100% true. Republicans did everything they could, with the exception of Mr. Massey and a few women on the other side, to stop the release of the Epstein files. So to have you try to mansplain to me, that's the first time I've used it in this
Check the record, it's not true.
The first time I've used it in this committee, and if I used it before, because I actually don't remember, I do remember you calling me naive, and I remember that it was a remarkable criticism from somebody who I think should know much better. Maybe I should call you naive back. But all I can say to you, Mr. Issa, is that it is absolutely a fact in this country that sexual assault and violence against women have not been taken seriously in way too many ways. The Epstein file, the reason that is resonating so strongly across the country is because the depravity of predators and pedophiles that is demonstrated in the files of men objectifying women in every possible way, of the way in which survivors have absolutely been dismissed, told to shut up, told to move on. And if you want to argue that that somehow doesn't relate to the Violence Against Women Act and the fact that Republicans voted against it, and now you want to take away money from states that are trying to implement domestic violence prosecutions, you are missing the point. You are really missing the point. And the reality is that there are women across this country who are going to watch this hearing, and they are going to see that the things that you just said are exactly the reason why we're still not prosecuting these predators and pedophiles. Everything.
We went in guns blazing without a plan, and Iranian leadership was ready for us. And they are currently destroying American military bases across the Middle East at such an incredible scale that I don't think we understand the magnitude of the loss. The American military bases in Bahrain and Kuwait and Qatar and Saudi Arabia are among the largest military facilities in the world. These bases have cost us trillions of dollars over multiple decades to build. It has been a huge amount of our military spending over 30 years, and it's just going up in smoke. We've lost radars that cost hundreds of millions of dollars, including one Iran took out that was $1 billion at the most fortified U.S. base in the Middle East with a single missile. A radar that was the backbone of all of our missile defense systems in the Gulf. It's really bad. I'm not sure our military has ever suffered this kind of destruction, but we've also never had such unprepared, unserious, piss-poor leadership before either. The new statistic is this war is costing us $1 billion a day. That's about $42 million an hour, $11,000 a second. And while this administration is telling us we are kicking ass and they're putting out their high-end America fuck yeah propaganda, in the background, they are summoning defense firms to the White House for emergency meetings and asking for more money for the Department of War. After getting an extra $120 billion a year from the big beautiful bill, these people are already asking for another $50 billion. Our military budget is already $1 trillion a year. Where is this money going? Right down the toilet, that's where. Did you vote for this? Do you want this? Or do you maybe want, a living wage and healthcare and to be able to afford a home in a safe and secure nation? We're not winning. The US and Israel have powerful bombs that can blow up buildings. But as we know now, most of Iran's military infrastructure and weapons are deep underground where we can't get at them. And it appears that Russia and China are sitting on the sidelines just feeding top-tier satellite intelligence directly to the Iranian government and just tracking our every move. We've started something we have no chance of finishing. We don't have an unlimited supply or an infinite arsenal. We don't even seem to have a goal. The question is, how long do we do this? We're a week in. How much of our resources are we going to spend? And do we plan to add our children's lives to the mix? When asked if we could expect violence on our own shores from this, Trump was like, well, maybe. It's war. That happens. Come on. This war was unnecessary and ill-planned and will not make our country or the world more safe and prosperous. We are not winning. All we are doing is bankrupting ourselves while we create even more enemies and ruin our position in the world. You want to talk about waste, fraud, and abuse? Well, here it is.
First glance, it might just seem like the same lame body art that you see on the type of guy that you normally cover your drinks around, but his tapestry actually tells a much more disturbing story. In fact, one of his tattoos actually got him flagged by a National Guardsman in 2021, which led to him being labeled as an extremist and pulled from the security detail protecting President Biden during the inauguration. Now, to understand why, we need to talk about the symbols. So first up, we have the Jerusalem cross. Historically, it became the coat of arms for the Kingdom of Jerusalem during the Crusades. But in modern times, the cross has been revived by Christian nationalist and far-right groups who use it as a rallying symbol for what they see as the new crusade, reclaiming America for God. You know, something that Petey talks and writes about constantly. Now, on its own, maybe that tattoo could just be written off as a guy who's just really into Christian medieval history, but not when it's paired with this, Deus Vult, Latin for God wills it. And during the First Crusade, this was the battle cry that was shouted by Christian armies before they invaded Muslim lands. And today, in violent far-right and white supremacist circles, the Jerusalem cross and Deus Vult go hand in hand. If you just scroll through the darker corners of online extremist spaces, you'll see this pairing everywhere. It's basically become shorthand for a modern holy war mindset. And then there's this tattoo. And if you grew up in a small town like I did, then probably the worst guy you knew from high school has this tattoo. And they definitely weren't compensating for anything. It's the AR-15 paired with the American flag. Yeehaw! Except you may have noticed that this version is a little bit different because the stars are arranged differently. Some people say the stars are arranged as an HH or as an 8-8. And in Yahtzee symbolism, the 8-8 refers to the 8th letter of the alphabet being H, which if you know, you know. And nope, we're not done yet because there's this one. It's a cross merged with a sword. And it's apparently referencing a verse in a book that people love quoting. It's a verse in the Gospel of Matthew where Jesus says, "Do not suppose that I came to bring peace to the earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword." Which, come to think of it, really tracks for somebody who renamed the Department of Defense the Department of War. And shockingly, that's not the end of it. He has other disturbing tattoos, but that's all I can stomach for today. Let's talk about Pete Hegseth's
$3 million to a company that didn't exist 3 weeks ago. No website, no office, no employees. Just a guy's house in Virginia and a dream. Here's where it gets interesting. That money went to Safe America Media, which immediately paid another company, the Strategy Group, to do the actual work. The company's CEO married to Kristi Noem's own spokesperson, and they ran her campaign. She controls a $220 million budget, says she personally reviews every contract over $5 million. Had no idea. That's the performance of incompetence. Psychologists call this plausible deniability theater. You build the maze specifically so you can get lost in it. The company got $143 million. The actual work cost $226,000, her overpriced photo shoots included. And when Congress was asked where the rest went, she couldn't answer, wouldn't answer, redirected, deflected, performed confusion. Senators from her own party called it corrupt. The inspector investigating it, she blocked him. 2 Americans get shot by her agents this year. She called them terrorists. Her own agency heads contradicted her. Under oath, she still won't apologize. Break our laws and we'll punish you, says Kristi Noem on a horse in a costume.